Hi there, my name is Callan,
My name's Megan.
and this is our van, Wiley. This van took us 5 months to build out, and we have been traveling now on the road for 3 months, primarily climbing.
Yeah, so I work remotely. So we built this van that can serve as my office on the road. But we also really love to cook. So we built the kitchen with massive countertops. We have a nice sitting area. We can entertain friends. We can have people over and have big pizza nights. So it was really important to us to have a really comfortable home. So we wanted this van to not feel like a van. So we wanted everything to feel soft, like you're not sitting in a metal box. So really cushy. All the corners are nicely sanded off. So it really feels like you're sitting in a small studio apartment as opposed to a van.
On the road, we have seen a bunch of people's other vans as we've been camping around and meeting people. And a common theme that I've seen is that people really struggle to get the most out of their van. Sometimes it might be a case of the van's too big, um, and people are converting these vans without actually having built anything before. So to really go from having never built a house to building something really optimal and getting the most out of your van can be quite difficult. So what we wanted to do was make a two-part movie series, basically just detailing some steps that you can go through to make a really effective plan to get the most out of your van and to make sure that your build out is exactly the way that you'd want it, um, as well as kind of getting all the features in that you could possibly want out of a van.
Yeah, so when we first started building our van, we step one for us was figuring out what's important to us. So obviously, as Kellen said, we are climbers. So climbing is incredibly important, and we have a decent amount of gear that needs to fit in this van so we can do our favorite hobby. Luckily, everything can fit into mostly into the back. So we have some storage in the back. We have storage under the couch, but it was really having an idea of how we can use the van to allow us to do our favorite hobbies, climbing and hiking. So those are the two things that this is sort of optimal for in terms of hobbies. But also cooking. I mean, cooking is incredibly important to us. As I said, we've got a big kitchen. We have a nice entertaining space. So all of those things were things that we factored in when we did our initial layout.
So with this van, we're lucky in that our hobby doesn't actually take up too much space. So because of that, we have a low bed. We don't need a garage like a lot of people that might do, say, mountain biking do, where they have the raised bed and a huge amount of storage space underneath. We instead chose to have a lower bed um, with a drop-down table. Now, as Megan said before, we like to entertain and we like to cook. That's basically half of what we do is cook and eat. So, on top of making a really nice, comfortable van that's really soft and squishy, I mean, we sleep a lot, uh, we also have a larger kitchen than usual, and our entertaining space is this table wrapped around our bed. That was something that was really important to us, and because of those choices, it actually changed the layout um, that we used to make this van. So it's a bit different than one that's primarily made for someone who is chasing a hobby. So we're quite lucky. Our gear doesn't take up too much space. It all fits under the bed in the back and under the bed on the sides.
Also, one thing you want to consider is if you're using your van as a weekend getaway vehicle or if you're living in it full time like we are. So, the reason that we designed this the way we did is so we can be full time van lifers. We have a shower, we have a toilet, we have an oven, we have a full kitchen. So, all these things were really important because we're going to be in this, 24/7. And if you're just using it for the weekend, you might not need to go to all that effort to build out a shower, make space for a toilet because you're probably going home during the week. So these are all things you can think about. How important is a shower every day for you if you're just going out for a short trip?
So a couple of examples we mentioned before was the mountain bike. That's a common hobby these days, and so if you're someone that wants to have your bikes inside, the um, the normal solution to that is to have a raised bed. Another example might be if you're a surfer or a paddleboarder, you are going to need some space for a surfboard or a paddleboard. Is it going to go up top on the outside? Are you going to hang it on the outside of your van? If you do, and you put it somewhere like here, do you need windows, or is your surfboard going to block it the whole time? Also, do you need somewhere to stick your wetsuit at the end of the day? Do you need a drip rack, some sort of dry room? So it's really good to figure out what it is that your hobbies require you to have, and then start to base an idea of what it is that you want to do with your van around that. Because hopefully your van is a vehicle to get you towards those hobbies and doing them as much as possible.
Yeah, and another thing to consider is who are you putting in your van? So if it's just you and your partner, you only have two people to worry about, then, just a queen bed is probably enough. But if you have a dog, you might need to think about where the dog's going to sleep at night if they don't sleep in bed with you. Might have a good space laid out ahead of time for that. Or if you have kids, there are a lot of ways to now build a van that has a suspended bed. You could turn an extra couch into a bed. So there are tons of options if you are bringing another person, if you have 3 people, 4 people, extra animals, cats, dogs, whatever you can fit in.
We've met 2 cats on the road, and it's been quite fun.
Yeah.
A couple of other factors to think about is the size of your van. Do you have a big van, a long van? Is it wide enough for you to sleep across, or do you have to sleep lengthways like I do? Is the van a small van like a Ford Econoline, or a large van like a ProMaster or a Sprinter? So having those things in mind, whether you've bought a van already or you're looking to buy a van that will work for your hobbies, it's good to keep that in mind to know whether you can fit everything it is that you want inside. Okay, so the second step that we have is to sketch potential layouts for your van. So assuming at this point you have the size of your van in mind, you know the space that you're working with, and you also now have a pretty good idea of what it is that you need to get inside of the van. You can start getting creative in different ways that you can lay all of those things out to have a van that works for you. So some of the things to think about are the ease of movement in a van. If you put everything in, can you still fit and move about? It's all well and good if you have all of your stuff in there, but is it comfortable to move in and out? Or do you have to constantly move stuff? Do you want to block off the front cab area, for example, which could give you more wall space, but at the cost of being able to go in and out of the front nice and easily? Are you going to be able to store all of those hobby items that hopefully you've kind of laid out? Do you have an area to relax? And this comes down to as well whether or not your van is something that you want to be quite utility. Is it just something that gets you and all of your gear to where you're going, have your fun, and then come back? Or is it something like we've done with our house, which is to make it really comfortable, which has been one of the most important factors for us, something that's soft and warm and really homey while we're on the road. So there are different things to think about. How much materials you're using. Something we put a lot of thought into was the balance of the vehicle. Just something to keep in mind. You could balance water and batteries, but it really makes the driving a lot better when suddenly all your heavy stuff is not on one side. And then just working in with the shape of your van. What height do you have to work with? What size, length? How does it work? Is it comfortable, and is it optimal?
All right, so step 3 is making the layout your own. So not only are you thinking about your hobbies and your lifestyle and how the van can be optimized for that, you also want to think about a theme for your van. So our last van that we built we described it like a log cabin. It's really like warm, but had like dark, rich colors. This is the exact opposite. So we call this one like the seaside villa almost. It's white walls. We have nice blue tiles behind the countertops, warm maple wood countertops and table, and big windows. So wherever you are, you can always see out and admire the view. And so this actually feels much bigger with the white walls, which, white walls in a van, you can go either way because it's definitely a lot more to clean. But it makes a small space feel a lot bigger. And so when we used that theme, that basically chose or helped us choose all of our colors. So it's harder than you think choosing what white to go with what blue and what countertop. So the more you can do of that in the beginning, the more you can kind of understand like what materials you want, how to make it sort of fit that theme throughout your build and throughout the process of just designing your build. All right, one other thing to think about when you're theming your van is adding unique features to it. So whether you find your ideas from Pinterest or Instagram, looking at other van lifers, think about ways that you can make it your own and really help it work for your lifestyle and your hobbies as well. So one thing that we have is a nice couch situation that also works as cupboard space and a drop down table. So that allows us to have a little space for coffee or tea in bed, which is really nice. I can work from it, which is great. And next to that, we have a bookshelf. So we can hold our guidebooks, we can hold our books that we're reading, and just lots of little odds and ends that we have next to the bed at night. So just a really, really cool, unique feature wall that worked for us because of the way we like to sit in bed and read and drink coffee.
And that idea actually came about quite naturally as well. So I'm 5'10", and what that meant in this van is I couldn't sleep across the van. We had to sleep lengthways. And because of that, sizing out a queen size bed, front to back, actually meant that we had a little bit of spare space in between the side of the bed and the side of the van. And so that's why we built this couch. It's just something that really optimizes the space and gives us a few extra features that are really quite fun. And this all came about because we drew a layout, took some measurements, and realized that we had a little bit of something to play with. So it's a really good way just to have a look at the layout that you've put in and really see if there's something that you can add just to make it a bit more fun.
All right, so this video, we just told you the first 3 steps. So you are having an idea of what's important for you in your van. Step 2 is sketching your potential layouts. So doing whatever drawing you need to do, figuring out where you want everything. Step 3 is making it your own. So you're theming it, you're getting ideas, you're really finding those unique little features that are going to be important to you or that are going to make your van really personalized for you. So the next 3 steps.
4th, 5th, and 6th steps. We have optimizing the layout, we have the materials and the sizing, and then we have the transition of making a building plan from all of your ideas. And that'll be in the next one.
Look at that detail. Look at it.